Something that I don't know is true, but I really hope it is true, is allegedly German authorities have caught the kidnapper and murderer of Madeleine McCann. And this was someone who was just a suspect for a while, but apparently evidence has come out that have made German authorities, prosecutors, 100% certain they have the killer in custody, which I hope is the case. German authorities say they have evidence to charge Christian Bruckner, who denies involvement in the British toddler's disappearance. Prosecutors investigating the disappearance of Madeleine McCann say they are 100% certain she was murdered by a sex offender they already hold in custody. The German authorities say they have the evidence to charge convicted sex offender Christian Bruckner and hope to conclude their investigation next year. Hans Christian Walters, the prosecutor in charge of the case, said, "We are confident we have the man who took and killed her. It is now possible that we could charge. We have that evidence now." So, I hope that this isn't a bunch of horse shit. I guarantee the entire prosecution service in Germany is looking at this. They wouldn't go ahead with a trial without having actual good shit. Like you know, Say what you will about the Germans, they're efficient. But Mr. Walters says that with Bruckner currently serving 7 years in a German jail for raping a pensioner in Praia de Luz, his team are taking their time to build as strong a case as possible against him before bringing charges. We have time on our hands. It's not just about charging him, we want to charge him with the best body of evidence possible, he said. When we still have questions, it would be nonsense to charge him rather than wait for the answers that could strengthen our position. That's why we said we'll investigate as long as there are leads or information for us to pursue. I'm not saying that what we have is insufficient now, but he's in prison, so we don't have this pressure on us. We have time on our hands. However, Mr. Walters and his team now admit they have no proof that Madeleine is dead, despite authorities in Braunschweig, northern Germany, having told her parents, Kate and Jerry McCann, last year that they had evidence that she is no longer alive. So a little bit of a conflicting story there, but let's it's not nice, but let's be real. She's dead. Madeline vanished from her family's holiday flat at the Ocean Club Resort in Praia de Luz, Portugal, in 2007, days before her fourth birthday. Kate and Jerry of Rothley Leaks have said that they hang on to the hope, however small, that we will see Madeline again. And now, you know about the Madeline McCann case. I don't need to go into it. This was all over the papers when this happened, and it keeps cropping up in the papers constantly since then, and it's just yeah, you know about it. Madeleine McCann's disappearance, a timeline of events. Will we go into that? Nah, fuck it. Mr. Walters now says they have no idea how she died and no DNA or photo evidence linking 44-year-old Bruckner to the alleged murder. In a direct message to the McCanns, he says, "We are confident we have the man who took and killed your daughter. All I can do is ask for your patience. I personally think a conclusion will be reached next year. We have no body and no DNA, but we have other evidence. Based on the evidence we have, it leads to no other conclusion." And those are some big words. Those are some big words, right? It's at the point where, like, the fact that this man is so confident and what he has must be juicy. It must be something that absolutely nails this prick. But see if it isn't, I'm gonna be fucking mad, man. You don't say stuff like that to the parents unless you have something ironclad, fucking titanium clad. You don't say shit like that to the parents unless you have something major. So that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that they have something that definitely proves that this is the guy. Because see if all of this is just absolute bullshit fluff, I'll be fucking furious. I can't tell you on which basis we assume she is dead, but for us, there's no other possibility. There is no hope that she is alive. Mr. Walters defended his decision to not show the McCanns the evidence that leads his team to believe Madeline is dead, saying, "If I did, it is very possible that they would then no longer have any hope." Okay. Not sure what I get what he means by that. I think it's basically a confirmation that she is in fact dead. But what I'm interested. I want to see what they have. Evidence being investigated by German prosecutors, including a confession alleged to have been made by Bruckner to a friend, along with analysis of telephone communications showing that he was at the Ocean Club when Madeline vanished. Mr. Walters told the Daily Mirror it is circumstantial evidence. We have no scientific evidence. If we had a video of the act or a picture of Madeline dead with Bruckner on camera, we would have had to make a public appeal. We wouldn't have had to make a public appeal, but we only have circumstantial evidence. And that, yeah, it turns out that this guy, I remember, like, because this came out about a year ago as well, where they discovered that this guy was a known sex offender. He's been sex offending his entire life, and he was living in a van, fucking the absolute stereotype. And he was in the area and he was near the hotel. So basically, any policeman would make that would immediately make this person a prime suspect. But it is all circumstantial. They don't have anything that actually proves that he did in fact take Maddie, at least to my knowledge. Bruckner was living in a camper van close to Praia de Luz when the 3-year-old disappeared. He was just out of jail for petrol theft at the time. He first crossed the radar of British and German police as a suspect in 2017, but they only went public with it last June. Senior investigators have spoken to potential key witnesses in Germany and Portugal. Everything we found fits in the picture. The prosecutor said his team has interviewed a very big number of people, but is yet to find the person Bruckner spoke to on the phone around the time that Madeline went missing. He added, the case is progressing. We found no evidence to clear Mr. Bruckner of suspicion. Everything we found fits in the picture. We're perhaps halfway through. This guy is bigging this up so much, man. Well, see if this turns out to be a nothing burger. I'm going to get a plane over to Germany and slap him. Like, I swear to God, this better be something good. Mr. Walters said it is likely Bruckner, likely it was 100% a second ago, who is now in solitary confinement at Oldenburg Prison near Bremen, northwest Germany. He will be charged early next year with other alleged offences in Portugal, including the rape of an Irish woman in the Algarve in 2004 and 2 incidents where he allegedly flashed at youngsters. He criticised the slow approach of Portuguese authorities in the investigation, accusing them of lacking interest in the case because the victim and prime suspect are both foreigners. What takes 1 week in Germany can take 6 months in Portugal. I think the interest in the case in Portugal is just not that big because no Portuguese person is involved. The cooperation with Britain is certainly notably better, he said. Bruckner denies being involved in Madeline's disappearance and has refused to speak to police or prosecutors. Well, obviously, he would. So, maybe, because when was that, 2007? So 15 years ago. 15 years ago that this fucking happened. And hopefully it'll finally come to a close and you'll finally, because that was one of the biggest mysteries in Britain, who took Maddie. And we may fucking finally actually have the person. I swear to God, see if the stuff this prosecutor comes out with is just absolute bullshit, man. I will find the man. I will find this prosecutor and slap him around for selling it like that, especially selling it to the parents. Like, I'll admit, right? Yes, I have made very, very, very many Maddie jokes in my life. Yes, like I even, like at tea in the park, I even. I even graffitied on my pal's tent. I have Maddie on his tent. Is it a tasteless joke? Is it an offensive joke? Yes, it absolutely is. But fuck you. Like that's just that my style of comedy. However, in the reality outwith of comedy, if we could finally nail the fucker that actually did take Maddie, then yes, I am all for it. So I swear to fucking God, this prosecutor, whatever you have, it better be fucking good.